Tonight on NewsWatch, Washington on hold for a third day. The gridlock behind the government shutdown.
Plus, how the United Nations is working to bring aid to war-ravaged areas of Syria.
And Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda joining forces and targeting Christians. We'll show you where. All this and much more tonight on NewsWatch. A shooting sends Capitol Hill into lockdown. Good evening, I'm Wendy Griffith.
And I'm Mark Martin. Police say the security measure was put into place after gunfire outside the Capitol building. CBN's John Jessup has been following the story from our Washington bureau, and he joins us now with more. John, we understand the lockdown has been lifted. What happened?
That's right. What we can report now is that this was not terrorism related. It was considered an isolated incident, and that's according to the U.S. Capitol Police. What we do know is that a woman who was driving a black car tried to ram her car through a barricade near the White House. A high-speed chase then ensued and ended nearby on Capitol Hill. We understand that shots were fired, not sure exactly how many, and that at least one officer was injured. There are reports that the woman who was driving the vehicle was shot and killed. Again, those reports are unconfirmed. I should mention we tried doing this live shot at Capitol Hill. We were turned away because many areas around the Capitol complex are still cordoned off. And as we were making our way to Capitol Hill, I also noticed that many areas around the White House that are usually open to the public were also closed off. But again, we should mention that this is not considered terrorism related, but it does come on the heels of some very intense negotiations on Capitol Hill over the budget showdown. A lot of people, of course, frustrated over the government shutdown. And also, just a few weeks ago, we had a shooting nearby on Capitol Hill at the Naval Yard. So some very, very tense moments here in the nation's capital for a few moments. Mark, back to you.
All right, thank you, John. And CBN News will continue following this story. You can find the latest at our website, cbnnews.com.
And in other news tonight, it's day 3 of the partial shutdown of the U.S. government, and it appears it's no closer to reopening. President Obama today put the blame on Speaker of the House John Boehner. That comes after a meeting with congressional leaders at the White House last night made no progress in ending the budget dispute.
Speaker John Boehner won't even let the bill get a yes or no vote because he doesn't want to anger the extremists in his party.
All we're asking for here is a discussion and fairness for the American people under Obamacare.
The president maintains he will not negotiate anything, including the health care law, until Republicans end the government shutdown. Democrats and some moderate Republicans say Speaker Boehner could reopen the government if he schedules a vote on a funding bill that has no changes to Obamacare.
Unlike past government shutdowns, Americans now have social media to voice their opinions. On Twitter, hashtags like Dear Congress and Government Shutdown have taken over feeds. And today, Just Vote began trending after the White House tweeted about the House voting on a continuing resolution to fund the government. If you're on Twitter, we want to connect with you. Find us at CBN News.
If the government shutdown, has turned into a potential legal showdown revolving around the closing of the World War II memorial in Washington. The American Center for Law and Justice says if the Obama administration won't reopen the memorial, it will be obligated to file a federal lawsuit requesting an injunction. John Jessup has more on the memorial.
For 6 months, 96-year-old Eugene Morgan anxiously waited for his first visit to Washington.
I said, well, we don't need to keep postponing this at 96.
The World War II vet served in the Pacific and survived fierce fighting along Guadalcanal. But like most other vets, he doesn't offer much in details.
Well, I can just say I was there.
He traveled with his son Jeff all the way from Arkansas to see the World War II memorial, running into thankful Americans, young and old alike.
Well, I'm thankful for all the people of America, and especially those that prayed for us during the World War II.
But the trip was nearly ruined.
It chokes me up. they deserve better than that.
They, along with more than 100 vets from Kansas, Missouri, and Illinois, found the memorial barricaded and blocked to the public.
For them to get off a plane, they got up at 3 a.m., got on a plane from wherever they're coming from, and to land here and come to their memorial and see barricades is unacceptable.
The World War II Memorial is just one of the many destinations tourists come to see when they're in Washington, D.C. But for these vets who've traveled from all across the country, they weren't going to let this government shutdown keep them from seeing the memorial that pays homage to their service.
Would you like to go in and visit the memorial?
Lawmakers from both parties greeted the vets and opened up the memorial so folks like Eugene could get up close and personal. That cooperation, however, hasn't spilled over to resolving the budget.
We're going to sign this letter to Speaker Boehner asking that we have a vote on a clean funding resolution immediately so that government functioning can resume and Americans can move on with their lives.
I visited with several of the veterans from Kansas this morning, and they have told me to stand firm. We're fighting to save this country from certain fiscal disaster if we continue down this path.
The impasse leaves Eugene's son frustrated.
I mean, my father and many others sacrificed time, their lives in a lot of cases, and it's just sad to see America cannot even work together.
Still, he's glad his dad got to see the tribute to the greatest generation for himself.
He's a wonderful man and a great father, a great man, and loves the Lord and loves the American people, and he would gladly serve today if he could.
John Jessup, CBN News, Washington.
Calvary Chapel founder Pastor Chuck Smith died today after a battle with lung cancer. Smith is remembered as a leader in the Jesus movement of the 60s and 70s. He had been undergoing treatments for cancer on and off over the last 2 years, all while still preaching regularly from the pulpit and over the radio. Smith was 86.
Turning overseas now, the United Nations Security Council is calling on the Syrian government to allow cross-border humanitarian aid deliveries. The council says the deepening crisis requires immediate action to make sure aid gets to those most in need in a safe manner. Gary Lane has more.
The United Nations statement on humanitarian relief came as international chemical weapons inspectors began a second full day of securing work sites. More than 1,000 tons of Syrian chemical weapons will be identified and destroyed by mid-2014. The Assad government's ability to manufacture chemical weapons must be scrapped by November 1st. In New York, Luxembourg's UN representative said progress on chemical weapons elimination should not prevent the world from meeting the humanitarian needs of the Syrian people.
We should not forget that the conflict is continuing, that the humanitarian situation is ever deteriorating.
More than 2 million Syrians are now refugees in neighboring countries. 5 million are internally displaced.
One refugee is created in Syria every 15 seconds. Since we've been speaking this morning, there are another 11 refugees.
Each family is in need of food, water, and shelter. Few refugee children attend school. Many internally displaced Syrians are without work because of the fighting. The United Nations statement calls on all parties of the conflict to facilitate the swift provision of humanitarian aid and
this consensus statement clearly calls on all parties to do their utmost to end the violence and stop targeting civilians.
No response yet from the Assad regime. An international peace conference on Syria is set for next month. Gary Lane, CBN News.
In Egypt, the Muslim Brotherhood is criticizing the military for ousting former President Mohamed Morsi. The group has been voicing its anti-military viewpoints in the 3 months since Morsi was taken from power. This time, the Brotherhood is comparing the military governing to the rule of Adolf Hitler or Roman Emperor Nero. The remarks are likely to spark greater tension between the Brotherhood and the military. That ahead of scheduled rallies between supporters and opponents of Morsi. Both sides plan to gather in Tahrir Square this weekend.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says Iran will have to prove it's not trying to develop a nuclear weapon, but that it would be, quote, diplomatic malpractice of the worst order not to test Iran's willingness to comply with international demands. His comments came after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned the West not to trust Iran. Kerry says the U.S. will not take any Iranian offer at face value, but he wants to make every effort to avoid military action.
Coming up, CBN News sits down with the stars of the new movie Grace Unplugged.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, starts Friday.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, starts Friday.
A new movie opens tomorrow called Grace Unplugged.
It's about a young worship leader, and she dreams of becoming a big star outside the church walls. But will the price of fame prove to be too high?
I had a chance to sit down with the stars of the movie to bring you this inside look at the story. 18-year-old Grace Trey grew up singing in church where the worship leader is her father, a former famous pop star who gave up the wildlife when he became a Christian.
He needs to see that I can make it on my own.
But despite her father's objections, Grace is determined to taste the kind of stardom she's always dreamed of and runs off to Hollywood without her parents' blessing.
We are going to have so much fun with you. I can hardly wait.
AJ McCulka plays the role of Grace. What is the real crisis of faith that she has that really is the crux of the movie?
I think it's decision-making. I think she gets so excited about what this industry could be for her that she kind of will do anything at a certain point. And she doesn't make a bunch of horrible decisions, but she kind of gets a little close to going a little too far.
This is your first big major film debut as a major character. How excited are you?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm excited a lot. I mean, it's a blessing for me because I didn't ever think, this film would really get this much excitement.
Baby, think about what you're doing, why you're doing it. Running away, it's not the way you want to go about it.
Actor James Denton plays Grace's protective father, Johnny. Most people might know you as the guy who took his shirt off a lot on Desperate Housewives. How did you get involved in a Christian movie?
I think they might have known a little bit. My first job was as a minister of music in a Methodist church right out of college. I worked in Christian radio for a while. And so they might have known I had that background. I don't know.
Interesting.
That I would have had a propensity towards a project like this. But that was a lot of it. When I heard about it, I was really attracted to it because I grew up in the church.
Trust me, you blew Sapphire music away.
Well-known actor Kevin Pollak plays Mossy, Grace's worldly music agent.
In this case, I thought the journey between the father and daughter was exceptionally written. And the character of Mossy was someone who was offering genuine opportunities and wasn't demonized because he was in show business, which I thought was important to empower Grace's decision in the end.
Director Brad Silverman says in the movie, just like many people in real life, Grace must decide what kind of performer she's going to be.
Grace is really lured by fame, lured by the world and success and making a name for herself. And in her specific story, she really has a change of heart. And, comes to find out that living for family and for God is a much more fulfilling way to live for Grace.
Grace Unplugged opens in theaters across the nation on October 4th.
Looks like a really good movie, Wendy.
I think the timing of this movie is really interesting, Mark, with performers like Miley Cyrus, who, reportedly grew up in the church and have sort of gone a different direction than Grace does in this movie. And I just think it's a really good movie for young people to watch and for parents to watch together.
Yeah, I agree. Looks good.
Well, up next, a man targeted by terrorists makes a daring escape. Hear his incredible story of survival when we come back.
Stop struggling with heavy hoses that are kinked and deliver little or no water. Or worse, break. Introducing the incredible flexible hose. Turn the water on and it expands up to 3 times its original length, so you can easily guide it anywhere you need without tangling. When you turn the water off, as it drains, the hose retracts back to its original shape. Standard rubber hoses can weigh between 8 and 12 pounds, but a 25-foot flexible hose weighs less than a pound. The flexible hose is so compact and lightweight, a child can manage a 75-foot hose easily. The flexible hose will never kink and is guaranteed to take the mess out of watering your lawn and plants. So washing your windows or spraying off your gutters has never been easier. The flexible hose is made of a tough double wall construction that is designed to bend and stretch but never kink.
Flexible hose is designed like a fire hose for speed, storage, and strength to last a really long time.
Call or visit flexiblehose.com to order the incredible flexible hose for only $19.95. Call right now and we will include a 7-way adjustable spray nozzle free. You can choose a full action spray, a gentle mist, a powerful jet, a vertical mist, flat spray, a cone spray, or a soaker setting. So stop coiling your hose with bulky devices. Flexible hose automatically retracts in seconds and weighs less than 1 pound. In fact, a 75-foot hose easily fits in a small bucket and stores away neatly in a drawer. Flexible hose saves you precious space on boats and is perfectly portable for RVs. But wait, order today and we'll give you a second flexible hose system free. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's 2 flexible hoses and 2 7-way adjustable spray nozzles, a $40 value, all for only $19.95. This offer is not available in any store. Order now.
To order flexible hose and take advantage of this amazing double offer, call 1-800-769-3384 or go to flexiblehose.com. Remember, this offer is not available in stores, so call now.
New security footage from that terrorist attack in Kenya shows 4 men raiding the Westgate Mall. Kenyan government officials originally suspected 10 to 15 attackers, but this new video may prove differently, which is leading some to question why it took days for military forces to get the situation at the mall under control. The September attack left at least 67 people dead. The al-Qaeda-linked terror group Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility. Al-Shabaab has terrorized Somalia for years, and much of the time Christians are in their line of fire.
In tonight's Focus Report, Gary Lane brings us an exclusive look at a safe house where converts from Islam are finding refuge.
Somalia's Islamist terror group Al-Shabaab recently joined with Al-Qaeda. It now wants Sharia law and to rid the Muslim country of all Christians. Specific targets are Christian converts from Islam. This Al-Shabaab video swept the internet in September 2008. It shows the brutal beheading of 25-year-old aid worker Mansour Mohammed. He converted to Christianity in 2005. 1 year ago, this Muslim convert to Christianity was awakened in his home by Al-Shabaab soldiers. We agreed to protect his identity and give him a different name, Abdi.
They ransacked my house, searched my bag, and found several pages from a Bible. They had crosses on them.
Abdi was taken away, imprisoned, and tortured.
Tell me what they then did to you and what they said to you.
I was blindfolded, and they put me in a dark, underground cell. They beat me up with a wooden baton. They wanted to know where I got the Bible pages, and if I knew of any others like me. When they finally took the blindfold off, I noticed 3 dead bodies in the room. They placed them there just to frighten me.
His torturers said they were going to kill him. But late one night, Abdi and 2 cellmates made a daring escape.
The guards thought they had locked our cell door, but it wasn't locked. We opened it, ran to the wall, and started climbing. The guards opened fire on us. Bullets killed one of my cellmates, but the other prisoner and I jumped over the wall.
Reunited with his family, Abdi is now living in a safe place. He says he still suffers physical pain from the torture he endured. Spiritually, he feels closer to God.
I was happy to go through all this because now I'm stronger spiritually. People prayed for me to escape. Their prayers are what saved my life.
Somali Christian leaders estimate less than 200 Christians exist in this country of 10 million. Secret believers like this woman, she wants us to call her Fozia, often suffer punishment and humiliation for refusing to conform to Islamic law. Fozia says as a Christian, she could not bring herself to abide by Al-Shabaab's requirement that women wear a burqa. While Fozia dressed modestly, she did not want her face fully covered. Al-Shabaab Sharia police, similar to these on patrol in Banda Aceh, Indonesia, noticed Fozia walking in public without a burqa.
They said the clothing I was wearing was unacceptable. They said I was naked.
Fozia received a public flogging, punishment similar to that inflicted on this Pakistani woman by the Taliban. Fozia received 30 lashes. She inched her way home despite debilitating injuries.
A female neighbor came to my house to wash my wounds. I was bleeding, my flesh was peeling, and it was extremely painful.
Fozia says it's too risky to own a Bible. So she listens to nightly Christian radio broadcasts from neighboring Kenya. Fozia found refuge at the home of a Christian friend in another Somali city. But what happens to other Somali Christians when their lives are threatened for leaving Islam? Some are receiving help from an American mission group. This safe house not only gives former Muslims a place to eat and sleep, it also provides them with spiritual fellowship and discipleship. It's run by mature believers who host no more than 2 people at a time. Eventually, this safe house will help these temporary residents transition to life on their own. Basma was 7 months pregnant when her Muslim husband divorced her. With nowhere to go, she returned to her mother's house, where she delivered her baby. But when Basma's family discovered she had become a Christian, her stepfather kicked her out of the house.
He said I was infecting the entire household, and he threatened to kill me if I didn't leave.
Basma was forced to live on the street with her infant until a VOM worker met her and offered her refuge at the safe house.
I was praying that God would give me a house where I could sleep. This is a very good house, a house of worship, a house of God. He answered my prayers.
Fozia and other Somali Christians are praying for a better life, one free from the oppression of Al-Shabaab and other Islamists.
Pray that we Somali believers will live our lives closer to the kingdom of God. Pray that we will endure the weight of life in this Islamic nation.
Gary Lane, CBN News, Somalia.
Up next, a man 2 millimeters away from certain death says God saved his life. CBNNews.com. News you want, when you want, 24/7. Stay current with up-to-the-minute stories.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New York.
I don't have to wait for my news anymore.
CBNNews.com at your fingertips all day long.
I only watch the stories I want to see.
I find the story, I click on it, and boom, I'm there.
Embassy in Washington, Eric Stackelbeck, CBN News.
The source for your news, CBNNews.com.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Well, a man from Minneapolis credits God for saving his life.
The 58-year-old carpenter was working when the unthinkable happened. Eugene Rayco's nail gun backfired, shooting a 3.5-inch spike right into his chest. His wife rushed him to the hospital, fearing she and their 7 kids would lose him. Miraculously, the x-ray shows the nail missed his coronary artery by only 2 millimeters.
They told me that I was very lucky. If it wasn't for God's protective hand, I'd have been done.
The nail itself caught itself on the sternum, just as if the sternum were a 2x4. And that really prevented the nail from going in any deeper.
Wow, that's God. Surgeons removed the nail, replacing it with 2 stitches. Eugene says it was the Lord who saved him, but he still plans to make a chest vest. And who can blame him to make that vest?
Did you see the size of that nail mark?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And to miss the coronary by just 2 millimeters.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, God.
Amen.
It's a good way to end the show. Miracles happen.
They do.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of NewsWatch.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Good night.